All right, let's unpack this. Today's deep dive is all about prepping you for a paper engineer interview. Think of us as your interview Sherpas, guiding you through all the trickiest terrain.
We've got a treasure map, too. A whole stack of resources from RoleCatcher. Career guides, interview guides, even insights into their AI tools.
And let me tell you, these AI tools, they're a game changer. Imagine getting instant feedback on your interview answers, like tailored to the specific company you're applying to. It's like having a personal coach.
But before we get to the AI magic, let's lay the foundation. What exactly does a paper engineer do?
Right.
I mean, it's got to be more than just fancy origami, right?
Way more. This is where RoleCatcher's career guide is super insightful. They paint a picture of someone who understands the entire life cycle of paper, from raw materials to optimizing production processes, all with a huge emphasis on sustainability.
They even highlight a niche area that's booming right now, packaging.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher's data shows a 15% projected growth in this sector, especially for engineers with expertise in sustainable materials. So, if you're looking for a hot field, packaging is it.
That's gold. See, that's the kind of insider info you won't find just browsing job boards. But, okay, so let's say you're interested in this field. What kind of skills and knowledge do you actually need to be a successful paper engineer?
Well, a love for paper helps, of course, but you'll also need a strong foundation in chemistry engineering, and even a bit of tech savviness these days. Degrees like chemical engineering or paper science are great pathways, but surprisingly, even business admin can be relevant if you're aiming for management roles.
Right, because you're not just working with paper, you're managing projects,
Yeah.
leading teams, analyzing data.
Exactly. It's a whole package. And that's where some unexpected skills come in. RoleCatcher really emphasizes things like reading comprehension, critical thinking, and active listening.
Now wait, why are those so important for a paper engineer? It's not like you're writing novels.
Think about it. You're constantly reading technical documents, analyzing complex data, communicating with different teams. Strong reading comprehension is vital.
Ugh, I get it. It's like,
Yeah.
if you can't quickly grasp those dense technical specs, you fall behind.
Exactly. And critical thinking helps you troubleshoot problems, find creative solutions, and make informed decisions under pressure.
Okay, this is making so much sense. So it's a blend of hard science and these almost soft skills that make a paper engineer truly effective.
Absolutely. Now, let's imagine you've got the skills, you've got the passion, and you've landed an interview. Here's where those interview guides from RoleCatcher become your secret weapon.
I'm ready to unlock the secrets. Let's start with a question that seems simple but can actually be tricky.
Yeah.
What is your experience with paper engineering?
It's a classic opener, and it's often the first chance to make a strong impression. Remember, the interviewer isn't just looking for a list of jobs or degrees. They want to see your passion, your understanding of the field, and how your unique experiences connect to paper engineering.
So even if someone's fresh out of school or transitioning from a different field, they can still craft a compelling answer.
Absolutely. Let's say you've worked in manufacturing, quality control, or even project management. Those experiences are incredibly relevant. Focus on transferable skills. Did you analyze data, optimize processes, manage teams?
It's all about framing those experiences in a way that highlights their value to a paper engineer role.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of genuine enthusiasm. If you're genuinely excited about paper and its potential, let that shine through.
All right. Let's say you've nailed that first question. What's next?
Well, the interviewer might dig a bit deeper into your technical knowledge. A common question is, can you explain your understanding of paper properties and how they affect your designs?
This is where things get a bit more technical, right? We're talking about weight, texture, thickness, all those factors that influence the design's functionality and even its aesthetic appeal.
Right. You want to showcase your understanding of how those properties play out in the real world. Maybe you've worked on a project where paper strength was critical, or you had to choose a specific texture to achieve a certain tactile experience.
So it's not about reciting textbook definitions. It's about showing that you've applied this knowledge in practical situations.
Precisely. And if you're familiar with specific paper types and their unique properties, like the smooth finish of coated paper or the durability of craft paper, that's a great opportunity to showcase your expertise.
And here's where RoleCatcher's AI tools can be super helpful. Their platform allows you to input the specific job description and practice answering these technical questions, getting AI-powered feedback on your responses.
It's like having a virtual expert evaluating your answers, helping you fine-tune your language and make sure you're hitting all the key points the interviewer is looking for.
That's amazing. Okay. So we've talked about general experience and technical knowledge. What other types of questions should candidates be prepared for?
Well, interviewers often want to see how you approach problem solving. A question like, tell me about a time you faced a technical challenge in a project and how you overcame it is a common way to assess this.
This is where those star stories come in handy, right? Situation, task, action, result.
Exactly. Think of a specific project where you encountered a technical hurdle. Maybe a material didn't behave as expected, or a design flaw emerged during prototyping. Walk the interviewer through the steps you took to identify the problem, analyze the situation, and ultimately find a solution.
And I imagine the result part is crucial here. You want to show that you not only solve the problem, but also learn something valuable from the experience.
Absolutely. The interviewer wants to see that you can handle pressure, think critically, and apply your knowledge to real-world challenges.
All right, so we've got experience, technical knowledge,
Yeah.
problem solving. What other key areas should we cover in part 2 of this deep dive?
We'll delve into questions about creativity, sustainability, and even how to navigate those tricky, tell me about a time you failed scenarios.
Sounds intense, but I'm feeling way more prepared already. Don't forget to join us for part 2, where we'll continue our paper engineer interview bootcamp. Welcome back to the deep dive. Remember those tricky interview questions we were unpacking? Well, we're about to tackle a few more, so grab your notepads. Okay, let's jump right in. In part 1, we covered experience, technical skills, and problem solving. But I know a lot of folks get nervous about questions that test their creativity.
It's understandable. Creativity can feel subjective. But remember, interviewers are looking for how you approach design challenges.
RoleCatcher's interview guide has a question that really gets at this. How would you approach designing a pop-up book?
Ah, the pop-up book question. This one's a favorite because it tests so many skills at once. You've got your visual creativity, your understanding of paper mechanics, and your ability to translate a 2D concept into a 3D interactive experience.
It's like a microcosm of paper engineering itself. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where do you even begin with an answer like that?
Think about your design process. Would you start with brainstorming different pop-up mechanisms, researching existing pop-up books for inspiration, or maybe sketching out the story you want to tell?
It's showing that you have a structured approach, even when dealing with something as seemingly whimsical as a pop-up book. Exactly. And don't be afraid to get specific. Maybe you'd use a mind mapping technique to brainstorm ideas. Or you're a whiz with a particular 3D modeling software for prototyping.
It's about showcasing those tools and techniques that demonstrate your creative process.
Right. And here's where practice comes in. RoleCatcher's AI platform lets you practice answering this question and get feedback tailored to specific job roles.
So you could say, I'd start by sketching out the narrative flow of the book, then explore different pop-up mechanisms using a 3D modeling program and the AI would analyze whether that approach aligns with the specific company's expectations.
Exactly. It might suggest adding, and I'd test those mechanisms with different paper weights and textures to ensure durability and visual impact. It's like having a custom-tailored feedback loop to refine your answers.
That's so cool. Okay, moving on. We got to talk about sustainability. It's not just a buzzword anymore. It's a core value, especially in the paper industry.
You're right. Interviewers want to know that you're not just skilled, and also responsible. A question like, how do you incorporate sustainability into your paper engineering designs is almost guaranteed to come up.
And it's more than just saying, I use recycled paper.
Right. Way more. This is a chance to showcase your holistic understanding of sustainability. Think about the whole life cycle of your designs. Material sourcing, production processes, end-of-life disposal.
RoleCatcher's Career Guide actually delves into this, highlighting the growing demand for engineers who understand sustainable material sourcing. They mention FSC-certified forests as a key example.
That's a great point. If you could explain what FSC certification means, that it ensures responsible forest management, that shows you're not just throwing around buzzwords. You actually understand the nuances of sustainable sourcing.
So in an interview, you might say, I always prioritize using paper from FSC-certified forests because it ensures.
Exactly. And then you can expand on other aspects. Maybe you've experimented with alternative fibers like bamboo or hemp, or you've developed techniques to minimize waste during production.
It's showing that sustainability is embedded in your design philosophy, not just an afterthought.
Precisely. And here's another tip. If the company has a specific sustainability mission or initiative, tie your answer back to that. It shows you've done your research and that you're a good fit for their values.
That's a smart strategy. Okay, let's move on to another challenging question type, everyone dreads hearing. Tell me about a time you failed. It feels like a trap.
I know, right? But remember, the interviewer isn't trying to make you squirm. They want to see your self-awareness, your ability to learn from mistakes, and how you handle setbacks.
So how do you choose a good failure story for an interview?
Pick a situation where the stakes weren't astronomically high, but where you genuinely learned something valuable. Maybe a project went slightly off track, or you misjudged a material's properties, and it impacted the design.
And the key is to explain what you learned, right?
Absolutely. Walk them through your thought process at the time, what went wrong, and crucially, what steps you took to correct it and prevent similar mistakes in the future. It's about demonstrating a growth mindset.
So for example, you could say, early in my career, I underestimated the impact of humidity on a paper-based installation. It caused warping, and we had to delay the project. Since then, I've become meticulous about environmental controls and material testing, even developing a checklist to ensure this never happens again.
That's a perfect example. You're owning the mistake, but highlighting how you've improved because of it.
And honestly, that's a quality any employer would value, not just in a paper engineer.
You're right. It's about showing that you're not afraid to make mistakes, but that you learn from them and become a better engineer because of them.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here. Any other question types we should touch on before we wrap up part 2?
Yes. Let's talk about a question that can really throw people off. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, this one. It feels so big and vague. Do interviewers actually expect you to have a 5-year plan mapped out perfectly?
Not necessarily. They're more interested in seeing your ambition, your career aspirations, and whether those align with the company's growth trajectory.
So should you talk about specific job titles or promotions?
It can be helpful, but it's more important to focus on the skills you want to develop and the impact you want to make. Maybe you're passionate about sustainable packaging and you see yourself leading a team in that area. Or perhaps you're fascinated by the emerging field of bio-based materials and you want to be on the cutting edge of that research.
It's about showing that you're forward-thinking, that you're not just looking for a job, but a career path where you can grow and contribute.
Exactly. And here's where you can subtly tie your answer back to the company's mission or values. Maybe they're known for their commitment to innovation, you can say. I'm excited by the company's focus on pushing the boundaries of paper technology, and I see myself playing a key role in that innovation in the years to come.
It's all about finding those connections, right?
Yeah.
Showing that your ambitions align with theirs.
Precisely. And remember, even if your 5-year plan isn't perfectly mapped out, it's okay to express that you're open to new opportunities and challenges. That demonstrates adaptability, which is a valuable trait in any field.
All right. I'm feeling way more prepared to tackle these tough interview questions. Before we move on to part 3, any final tips for our listeners?
Remember, practice makes perfect. Use RoleCatcher's AI platform to refine your answers, get feedback, and build that confidence.
And don't forget to join us for part 3, where we'll explore those AI tools in more depth and uncover even more insider strategies to help you land that paper engineer dream job. Welcome back to the final part of our paper engineer interview deep dive. I'm feeling pumped and ready to tackle those last few hurdles.
Excellent. We've already navigated through experience, technical knowledge, creative problem solving, sustainability, and even those dreaded failure stories. But there are a few more nuggets of wisdom from RoleCatcher that we need to unearth before you head into that interview.
You're right. And speaking of unearthing, let's talk about those AI tools we keep mentioning. RoleCatcher's AI-powered platform sounds like a game changer, especially when it comes to tailoring your answers to specific job roles.
It really is. Imagine this. You input the job description for the paper engineer role you're applying for, and the AI analyzes it, identifying the key skills and experiences the company is seeking. Then, as you practice answering interview questions, the AI provides real-time feedback, suggesting ways to strengthen your responses and highlight those specific skills.
It's like having a hyper-personalized interview coach.
Yeah.
Who knows exactly what that particular hiring manager is looking for.
Precisely. And it goes beyond just content. The AI can analyze your tone of voice, your pacing, even your use of industry jargon. It's like having a virtual mirror reflecting back how you're coming across, so you can make adjustments and ensure you're presenting your best self.
So, for example, I'm answering a question about sustainability, and I just keep saying eco-friendly over and over again. The AI might suggest incorporating more specific terms like FSC-certified biodegradable or closed-loop manufacturing.
Exactly. It helps you refine your language and make sure you're speaking the company's language, so to speak. And remember, The more you practice with the AI, the more it learns about your strengths and weaknesses, providing increasingly personalized feedback.
It's like having an AI partner who's constantly leveling up your interview game.
You got it.
Yes.
Now, beyond the AI magic, let's talk about a few more human-centered aspects of the interview process. One thing that often trips people up is the salary expectation question.
Ugh, yes. It feels so awkward to talk about money, especially when you're just trying to land the job.
I understand. But it's a crucial part of the process, and being prepared can make a huge difference. First and foremost, do your research. Use resources like Glassdoor, Salary.com, or even professional organizations like TAPPI to understand the typical salary range for paper engineers with your level of experience and qualifications.
So you're not going in blind and risking underselling yourself. Or, on the flip side, pricing yourself out of the running.
Exactly. And when the interviewer asks about your salary expectations, it's generally a good strategy to deflect the question initially and try to get them to provide a range first. You can say something like, I'm flexible and open to discussing salary, but I'd be interested to hear what range you have in mind for this position.
That's a smart tactic.
Yeah.
It gives you more information before you have to commit to a number.
Right. And if they press you for a specific figure, provide a range based on your research and your own personal needs and goals. Be confident in your value and don't be afraid to negotiate for what you deserve.
Okay, that's empowering advice. Now, let's talk about another aspect of the interview that often gets overlooked, asking your own WO questions.
Asking thoughtful questions is crucial. It shows that you're genuinely interested, that you've done your research, and that you're thinking beyond just landing the job. It's about finding the right fit for you as well.
So what kind of questions make a good impression?
Avoid generic questions that you could easily find the answer to on the company's website. Instead, ask questions that demonstrate your knowledge of the company's challenges and opportunities, or that reveal your interest in their culture and values.
For example, I could ask, I read about the company's recent initiative to reduce its carbon footprint. What role do paper engineers play in achieving those sustainability goals?
That's a great example. It shows that you've done your homework and that you're interested in how your skills and values align with theirs. You could also ask about the team dynamics, the opportunities for professional development, or even the company's approach to innovation.
It's all about gathering information that helps you decide whether this is a company where you can thrive and grow.
Exactly. And don't forget, listening attentively to their answers is just as important as asking the questions themselves. It shows that you're engaged in the conversation and that you genuinely value their insights.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from specific interview questions to salary expectations to the power of asking your own questions. Before we wrap up this paper engineer interview deep dive, any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
Remember, confidence comes from preparation. Dive deep into RoleCatcher's resources. Practice those interview questions, especially with their incredible AI tools. And most importantly, believe in yourself and your passion for this field.
The world of paper engineering is full of exciting challenges and opportunities, so go out there, ace that interview, and make your mark on the world, one sustainable and innovative design at a time.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We wish you all the best in your paper engineering journey.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.